The 1967 Chevy C10 barn find. The last time you saw this truck here on Freeman's garage, we pretty much put the nail in the coffin for the 250 straight six. But my idea is that a guy can pull this motor, tear it apart, hone the cylinders, re-ring the pistons, try to get away without having to buy bearings, slap it all back together, and drive the truck again, all at home in the garage with no help from a machine shop. This might work and save a ton of money, or it might turn into a financial nightmare. But if we try it, we won't have to wonder anymore. You've seen the episode of Freeman's Garage where we were driving the C10 and we took it upon ourselves to spray the entire county down for skeeters. Link below and above. So you already know that this girl's a smoker. So everything that we're going to attempt to do to this motor is the wrong thing and in the wrong way. So if you get any ideas from this, your mileage may vary. But this is kind of an experiment to see what we can do and what will happen. It's not cheap to rebuild this stuff, and you know, there's a lot of situations where people like you and me could potentially save a lot of money and get some more life out of our parts. A couple cool facts about this truck. 67, this is the first year of this body style. The 67 to 72 Action Line series. A couple ways that you can tell it's a 67 is the lack of side marker lights. In 68, the feds made all the automakers start putting them on their stuff. And another way that you can tell is the small back window. In 67, that was standard. A big window was an option. And starting in 68, these pickups just all came with big windows. You couldn't get the small window unless it was a medium duty truck, like a dump truck. This motor is a 250 cubic inch inline six, the smallest motor that you could have gotten in this pickup in 67. They all came with the 1-barrel carburetor, and the factory rated these at 155 horsepower at, I think, 4,200 RPM and 235 foot-pounds of torque. I get 15 or 1600 RPM. And on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, the biggest motor you could have got in this truck in 67 was the 327 V8. And of course that's not what I have. I started really late today. It's already almost 8 p.m. and we got a good couple hours of wrenching in front of us to pull this motor. So my goal right now is just to get it pulled and then disassemble it in the morning. And that's pretty much why I have nothing with nice paint. That's where that fell. We don't have a whole lot to deal with here pulling the motor out of an old Chevy, but it's still going to be a couple hours of wrenching to get it done. Some of the bell housing bolts will be a little bit of a pain. A guy's going to have to lay on his back with 50,000 extensions to reach them. We got to deal with the starter on this side and the fuel line. On the driver's side, we got the throttle linkage and the intake and exhaust combination manifold to deal with. Fancy, right? And we're going to leave the motor, or we're going to leave the transmission in the truck, so we don't have to deal with the shifter linkage and all that stuff. So we'll pull the radiator and take the fan off. That way we can have enough room to slide the motor forward and off of the input shaft of the transmission. Hopefully we have enough room. I'm sure we will. But I'm going to start with this battery, which in over 3 years I've never secured it, and somehow it's never met the fan. Let me start with this for an easy win. Do you remember when I told you that the bell housing bolt is probably what was going to give us the trouble? Well, nope, I was wrong on this one. Those actually came out surprisingly easy. It's the exhaust flange bolts that's given us a hard time. I've spent forever trying to keep a wrench from falling off on top while using a million extensions. So here's what I'm dealing with. And there's two bolts that hold the exhaust onto the manifold. I got one out. This one I'm still trying to get out. So I've been trying to set a wrench up here and then go down below. Well, good morning. I ended up not getting the engine pulled last night. Fighting with that exhaust bolt just took forever. Complete nightmare, and it just got way too late. But now all we have to do though this morning is drain the coolant and pull the radiator, and this motor is completely ready to come out. What you're about to see here completely stopped me in my tracks. Why is there so much oil in these cylinders? I'm starting to think now that this engine needs a little bit more than just rings. So a guy's gotta take a step back, do a little bit of thinking, and reevaluate the plan, and we'll continue this teardown of the Chevy 250 straight six and the at-home do-it-yourself cheap ring job in a future video of Freeman's Garage very soon. If you haven't seen the video that I mentioned in the beginning where we were driving this truck and this engine was smoking like the Marlboro Man, you should watch it because it'll give you a better understanding of what's going on with this engine and why we're tearing it all apart. See you next time.